Management Committee meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
That is second.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's taken care of. I think we'll be waiting for the county mayor. He should be up in a minute. There he is. He walked in just in time. I don't know where Adam disappeared to. There he is. He's here too. So I don't got to fool out. Okay, the first order is the agricultural agreement for Smyrna Health Department.
Okay, you recall that we received a grant from the state of Tennessee in approximately of $700,000 to build an addition to the Smyrna Health Department. And this is the first step in getting that done. This is a standard form AIA agreement between the architect and the owner. And Johnson & Bailey did the architectural work for the last addition that we made down there. And so I think it's wise that we use them again. The way we work this fee structure here, the state of Tennessee has a standard fee structure for architects. It's a logarithmic scale, so it's based on the cost of the project. The lower the cost of the project, the higher the fee would be, the higher the cost. So it's a sliding scale. But in any event, I think that is outlined in here. May not be precisely stated, but we've used this with some of the other architects. Well, you can see the formula on page 3 if you want to see how you were to compute what the actual rate would be is 27 divided by the log of p minus 2. But anyway, this, if you have a $600,000 project, the fee is about 7.15%. And it's a sliding fee based on, so that's an accepted practice with municipalities, and the state architect's office sets that logarithmic scale. So anyway, I'd like for you to approve the execution of this document so we can actually start the drawings, and then we will then be in a position, once we get those finished, to take bids on it. And
This is state money, isn't it?
They've given, yeah, it's all state money.
Okay, it's not our money.
It's not our money. Remind you that this property is owned by the town of Smyrna. We simply have been allowed over the years to use that property and put the buildings and maintain the operation there.
Okay, any more discussion? Is there a motion to that effect?
I make a motion that we go forward on this.
Second.
Motion and a second.
To approve the execution of the agreement between the architect and the owner on the Smyrna Health Department to provide the drawings and the supervision, et cetera, of the design of the building.
And in that percentage of architect, that they're going to be managing it, overseeing it,
They would do all the preliminary design, all the final design, all the working documents, all the bid process. They'll take the bids and they will oversee the actual construction once we take the bids with the contractors.
And the reason I bring that up is I know when we approved the $1.3 million earlier for the school design, I had people ask me, said, couldn't believe the amount of money. And that's, well, it's more than just drawing. They're managing the day-to-day stuff. They're, working with a contractor and managing the property or the building of it as well for.
Yeah, they normally manage from beginning to end.
Right.
Until it's a lock and key job until they turn it over to us. So it's a lot involved in it.
Right.
That the people don't know about.
And that's why I bring that up.
Any more discussion?
Does this go to budget?
This would need to go on through budget, so yes, ma'am.
Since it's going to budget for our new members, I think you heard it on other committees, that if money's involved, we have to send it to budget with a roll call vote. So, call the roll, Becky.
Okay.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Coggins?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes. Okay, the mayor have something else for us to
Okay.
county fair.
Oh, yeah, all right.
County fire and rescue building lease.
Okay. You're-
I think each one of you got a copy of it.
I think Ms. Shelton made a copy of that. You recall that we have formed the Rutherford County Fire Rescue Department. Included in that, we took ownership of some of the buildings, some of which we had to pay off the debt on. But this particular building is a building that has been leased for a substantial number of years by the Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department. And we have to enter into a formal arrangement here, since now we are the tenant. You might see that we need a lease. So I have negotiated this lease. This lease will be a short-term lease, because you're going to see here in just a minute, we want to get moving on the Rutherford County Fire Rescue Building, the first building. But in order to have continued occupancy of this particular piece of property, we have to execute a lease, and I have to get your approval to move forward with this. It's short-term will be just as long as it takes us to build the new building. We'll be out of it. We can cancel this lease with 2 months' notice, so it's not, we're not committing ourselves forever. It is an increase beyond the dollars that the volunteers were paying, but it's the best I can do. It is still a market competitive rate and probably below market, even though it's a fair increase over what they were paying. But I think it's the right thing to do, and it's $1,875 a month for 5,000 square feet, which they have a little bit of built-out office space in there. So it's $4.50 a square foot, which is a little below market, and we haven't leased much space, but I paid that same amount of money for some just pure old open warehouse space a couple of years ago. So it's a reasonable rate, and I think we can live with that, and we won't have to live with it more than probably 8 or 9 months, hopefully.
Okay, basically, who owns this building?
Jim Smythe.
Mr. Smythe leased this building since 1997, I believe, to the Volunteer Fire Department. And I think one of the things that's the reason why we kind of have to keep it is because there's no fire protection in the Barfield community, and that's which serves this. So their ISO rating would drop if we don't have something to protect that area, the county, and that's what this station serves. So that's why we.
Well, I was just wondering, because I wondered how he got the building, because I remember when this was built. It was built on the Rutherford County
This is-
Rescue Squad, wasn't it?
No, this is a separate building.
It's
This is-
separate.
Separate building, it's not that one?
We have 810 Old Salem and 910 Old
Okay.
Salem. One's
We
the
own
ambulance
910.
service
Okay, I'm getting.
And this is 810.
Okay.
It's a large building, of which they have one corner of the building.
Okay, I know it was a 10 in there, so.
Do you know where the UPS building is over there?
Yes.
It's actually the building back from there towards O'Salem. It fronts
Okay, it's
O'Salem.
not 910, the one
No.
I'm thinking.
No, sir.
All right.
No.
Okay.
That's our building where EMS is down there now.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, being that these individuals fight fire in District 7, and I'm the Commissioner of District 7, I want to make a motion that we approve this.
We got a motion from Commissioner Farley to approve this lease. A second.
I'll second it.
Uh-oh, there's another one.
It's got to be second, and we got to have it out there.
Any more discussion?
I have some questions about it. It says that the first payment is due on October 1st, 2010, and that was 27
That's right.
days
We're
ago.
delinquent.
Okay.
They paid, the Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department paid the lease through September the 30th, and I haven't had time to get this worked out into the commission to work it through officially, but we will have to make the payment for October.
Okay. And I had a couple of suggestions of things I'd like to add to the lease. I read over it earlier. I'd like a paragraph in there about taxes. The landlord shall be solely liable for property taxes on the premises only. And I guess I would like to make a motion to amend the lease to include that.
Do we need that? The taxes?
Well, I mean,
His county.
yeah, he owns the building, it's his responsibility to pay property taxes without us having anything to say about that in the lease, I believe.
Yeah, he's paying the taxes.
He's paying the
but-
taxes for years and years on it.
Well, I just think in the lease agreement, it's clear to make sure who's responsible for taxes. And,
Well, let me see, Becky, our copy, I'll give it back to you.
We can stick that in.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can stick that in there.
I don't know if you need an amendment on it.
We may have some other things that he has.
yeah, and I was going to continue after.
Okay, continue.
So that was the first part of the motion.
Okay.
The second paragraph is, this lease shall not be affected, varied, or modified by any agreements or representations not contained herein, except as may be subsequently agreed to by the parties in writing.
Okay? You gonna give that to Becky? I know she didn't get it.
Would that not come under 5, subleasing?
Subleasing and the modifying of the lease are going to be two different areas.
Okay.
I'm no attorney, but.
The lease can't be modified unless it comes back through here anyway.
Yeah, what are you meaning by that? I'm not following you.
You can't just have a handshake agreement to alter a term in the contract. This just clearly states that if any changes are to be made, it has to be put in writing and signed by the landlord and the tenant.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just overprotective, but in my business, we like to cover all the bases and make sure everything's done properly.
Not really, because that new landlord-tenant law has gone in and things have to be put in the leases now that did not have to be put in before.
So you got the two recommendations. Is that a form of amendment to the motion?
Yes, adding those two things was
I have a
a
second on the amendment.
Second.
Okay, we got a second on the amendment. Any more discussion on the amendment? If not, well, there's money involved, so I guess,
No, it,
That part
That-
wouldn't be.
okay,
that wouldn't count.
okay. All those in favor of the amendment, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Amendment passes. Okay, now we're gonna vote on the original motion, release agreement for the county fire and rescue building. And we need a roll call on this because money is involved, I think.
No, it's just a lease. You're
It
fine
don't
with
have to go to
reclamation.
budget? Okay.
No, only if you're transferring money or
Okay.
spending
Well,
money.
we're
with
not
a lease, it's
transferring.
fine.
And we're delinquent, so we better do something. All those in favor of the original motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's it for the mayor. I think you had you want me to go through the rest of the agenda,
Well-
or you want to go ahead and bring up,
It's whatever you wish. I have one more architectural agreement that I'd like to discuss with you, but you can wait till other business, whatever you choose, Mr. Chairman.
well, the mayor have another presentation for us, but it's not on the agenda, and we could bring it in under other business, but I'm gonna allow him to do so if I get a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
All those any discussion? All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We talked a moment ago about the Rutherford County Fire Rescue Building on Barfield Road. That's the first building we're going to construct. We need to put in place an architectural agreement there. And what I'm proposing to do, and I don't actually have the AIA form, but it's a standard form agreement. I can tell you the terms of it. I'd like you to approve and authorize the execution of that agreement subject to these terms being provided, and we will provide that. But here's the outline of it, and I'm just going to describe to you the Barfield Station. And that's going to be a building that's going to be about 8,600 square feet is what we have at this moment in time. And the cost of that is probably going to be in the neighborhood of $700,000 plus. And the proposal on this particular one is for a fee of a little less than 6%, whereas the one before was about 7.15, but the total fee will be $39,500, and it will include this full scope of things under the normal architectural agreement. So I'd like somehow for you, in other words, time is sort of the essence. We don't want to pay this $18.75 any longer than we need to. And I didn't get this proposal, which is not the actual AIA, but this is a written proposal from the individual. And this would be with Mr. Gerald Busey, B-U-C-Y. And he actually did this fire station we put out there on Manchester Highway behind our EMS building. So he has some familiarity with this, and I thought we would just try to use him again since he did a good job on that. And the fee is certainly a reasonable fee.
I think he's also done some of the EMS stations and stuff.
I think he must have, because we've used him over the years previous to me being
Yeah,
here.
I believe he has, and he's done a good job in the past on the public safety
Right.
stations that we've had done before.
So you're saying that to
I'd like-
expedite,
Yeah, I'd like, since you don't have in front of you this AIA, but I will assure you that the AIA agreement is standard form except for the place where they put in the fee. And the fee here would be 6%, or not 6%, it'll be $39,500 because we're talking about a structure that's probably going to be in the neighborhood of an excess of $700,000, so it's a little under 6%. But a fee of $39,500 to provide the normal and standard practices of the full range of architectural services on design through the complete bid process and supervision for the Barfield Road, Rutherford County Fire Rescue Building.
And to kind of give y'all a heads up, this is funding for this building. The biggest majority of it, was it $400,000 was
Here's what we got. We don't have enough money actually appropriated to build it if it costs $700,000. I'm just going to be upfront with you. We've got $500,000. We don't know what the bids are going to really come in. This is just first estimate. So if they come in anything in excess of 500, we have to have more money. 400,000 has been approved from the Christie Houston, and we had our 100 was the first in. If it costs 200,000 more, we got to have 200,000 more dollars that you'll have to wrestle with. Once we get this building designed and bid, then we'll come back and tell you, do you want to really go forward if it costs 700 or 650 or whatever it is, okay?
And one reason why the cost difference is different is because this station is, we're not looking at, the station we built out on Manchester Highway doesn't occupy people to quarters to stay there. There's certain rules you have to follow in building a fire station, which are inflating the cost that we have to do. We can't deviate on that. We have to put a ventilation system in the building, and that's why that cost is, it's an OSHA thing and stuff like that. So that's why the cost is inflated.
And this building is going to be constructed on the piece of property that the Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department had already bought and paid for themselves. So they handed that property over to us, and that's where we're going to put the building out there.
And it's actually going to be the actual, what you might say, headquarters, starting off as far as the Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department, Fire Rescue.
It's our first structure.
Right.
Now, we already have the structure that we bought we handed over when we paid off the debt on Salem Blackman. We have that structure, but this will be the first, this will be the base point.
any more discussion on it?
I make a motion we approve it.
Subject to the execution of an AIA standard form agreement, which is an accepted agreement.
Correct.
You're approving the execution of that agreement,
Right,
right?
right.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion on it?
Where is the fee for the architecture? Where are we getting that $39,000?
It'll be in our 500. And whatever we're short, we'll be short that much. But that's all the money we've got actually appropriated in the budget right now. So you're starting out with the
So this isn't a
500.
new line item?
No.
Or amendment?
No, we'll pay for that out of the actual construction appropriation.
Some could come out of this year's budget and some out of next year's budget, couldn't it? Or
Well, I'd like to get finished with this before this fiscal year is over. But, we'll either put in all of the additional 200 or we'll go back and ask for some more from the foundation possibly. We just we'll see how much we're short. But we got to go forward. This is imperative that we get going here.
Yeah, in the long run, we'll save money because of the lease agreement.
Yeah, right.
To terminate it, so we got to get to moving on it. Any more discussion? Just a roll call? It's not. All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any more?
That's all I had on those issues.
Okay, third item on the agenda, I asked for it to be put on there, is county building maintenance. I guess, I don't know if this committee wanted or not. Do you want an update of each building the county owns, the maintenance condition of it, or would you like something like that presented to you each month?
Right now, we've got, Mr. Mankin takes care of.
Essentially, all of them. That's what I was getting at. Would you like Mr. Mackin
Quarterly?
to present something to us quarterly or monthly, or conditions of buildings, or?
Well, what about, I guess Mr. Mankin could give that to the mayor, and, and handle it that way, if that's something that's, or is that something that you would?
We could do that. We sort of have to decide what kind of information we want, what kind of format we want this in, and what kind of data that we need to disclose. We are largely responsible for everything except I guess you could say, the sheriff's office.
Right.
Now, the EMS people, they take care of the maintenance of all those stations.
Right.
Solid Waste takes care of the maintenance of their things, but everything is, and the highway department takes care of all of theirs. We're not involved in it, just county general. And the school board takes all of theirs. So we're talking about just the county general buildings is all that we have any area of responsibility on. We have a system that, of work orders, that all of this stuff flows through, and preventive maintenance and all of that. So we could, maybe what you need to do some thinking about is, how do we want to structure this? What does it need to say? What are you interested in seeing? Maybe Mr. Mankin and I ought to take a shot at that, or with some input from some of you to determine what would be something reasonable you need to see.
Well,
I mean, you could say, how many work orders have we generated from each building, or something like that?
That's what I'm thinking. What are the buildings costing us in maintenance per month, per year, whatever?
But yeah, he has one line item for building maintenance, which includes all of this stuff. Now, housekeeping, all that separate, but I'm just talking about the maintenance is in a big lump. We don't have it itemized by building. And we push money around, and, just as we need it. I
guess, I was looking at big ticket items. In other words, building structure, HVAC, electrical, things like that. I guess I get hit more so than anybody when I walk into a county building, and the employees wear me out. Want to know, when you gonna get this done? When you gonna get that done? And stuff like that. So I guess if we had some insight or whatever beforehand of things that may need to be done, big ticket items.
Well, we would, really, y'all could have a lot more input there when we do the actual budgets. If we're going to have big ticket items, those things have to really be budgeted so that we'll know in advance to have enough money to do that.
I guess that's what I was getting at.
When we go through the budgeting process, might be the time to do some of that. We haven't done anything major recently. We've had some grant money that we've used for some enhancements, some of this energy savings business that we went through. We've spent a good bit of that from the federal government. We've improved I guess you could say, the fire safety in both this Goldstein's building and our building across the street. We've spent a lot of our own money on that, and we have one little piece of that to finish, which is about $70,000 to yet finish over here in the court building. But past that, we've already completed over there and completed part of where the actual courtrooms are. We just hadn't done the other piece across the hall. So everything we've identified over the years, a few things like that we felt that we needed to really be sure we had the safety and the mechanisms in there, and the smoke detectors and the fire alarm and all that interconnected. We've done that, and we have that one piece left to do. we don't have anything that we've identified yet that's significant, other than just routine kinds of things. We've even replaced, even across the street in that judicial building, a substantial amount of that HVAC over in that old bank part of the building. So we've had to do that. So we've addressed those things as they become necessary. We could get a, go ahead, Ms. Cook.
Would it be advisable for us to put in the lights like we did the schools?
We've done that. That's part of that energy grant.
Okay.
We did that over here in the Goldstein building, plus over here in
Okay.
that structure. So we took advantage of that.
What about this building?
We didn't change out the fluorescent lights in this building, I don't believe. We don't have that many, but we have a few. Here we are.
Well, maybe members of the committee can think about it, and if you think of something that you want to add it, want to present it to you or whatever, you can get it to me, I'll get it to the mayor, and maybe we can come up with this format. I guess I just want this committee being property management to be up to date on each building or whatever that we own, what's going on with it, you know. And that's the reason I'm asking, maybe we can put this together and get a presentation when we have a meeting on it, so.
Well, I'll be happy to take any suggestions you have, and we'll try to structure something. Maybe what we should do certainly is, we'll start this budgeting about January and February. If you have anything of major significance that we need to know about other than just routine, we need to identify that so we can get that request in there. We don't have a huge budget on this building maintenance. It's pretty small when you look at the total number of dollars for as many buildings as we're supporting.
Very small. The maintenance department do a great job. You know, Mr. Mack and I can't say enough for that group. They get on it, and they're working constantly on the buildings and everything. So.
And we have, when you look at the staff, it's
Very
pretty limited.
slim.
We're getting a lot done with a small number of people.
Very slim. Yeah. Okay, so if you have any suggestions or whatnot, you can give them to the mayor or myself, and maybe we can get something going on that. Okay, item 4, list of county properties. I think I stated that I would get you a list of county properties that we own, we rent, and you got that in front of you. And you can look over it, and if you have any questions about it, or anything, just present it at the next meeting or whatever, unless you got something
I
there.
got a question over here. I guess the lamp gallery, that's over where the building that proposed judicial building's at.
Right.
Yes, sir.
It says here behind on payments.
Yeah, we're working on that.
I figured that would stick out.
Yeah.
But you see that we bring in a substantial amount of monies on rent.
That's why I was wondering if we should put that in a separate account for our maintenance.
I think right now.
Well,
it's in
it's
the
all
county.
gonna.
We need it.
We need it, it's coming into county general.
Yeah,
Any way you look at it,
yeah.
it's revenue.
So you can look over that list. If you have any questions on it, you'll have it. And if you think in the future we need to tour any building or whatnot, we can do it.
There's a couple of things on here that I'll talk to Mr. Lindsay about that
Uh-oh.
need to be changed. We don't own any of the property on Old Fort Parkway anymore. That was a property, we leased from the city
And we
of
gave it to the
Murfreesboro,
city.
and we worked out an arrangement
Yeah.
where they've taken that back. So 3 items really will come off. I hadn't seen this until
Oh, you had
today.
till tonight.
Till the day I saw
Well,
it.
maybe the mayor need to go over it.
But I've reviewed it, and I will talk to Mr. Lindsay about
Okay.
a few on there that we will delete or modify. Not many.
I think each committee member, you know who Mr. Lindsay.
Mr. Ted Lindsay is in charge of fixed assets. I mean, he works in the finance department with Ms. Nolan. And he keeps records on all this stuff, including all the equipment in every building and office. This is just the real property here.
And I asked the county attorney about that, you know, and right now, this committee in the past has only looked really at real properties, you know, we hadn't looked at no fixed assets or nothing like that, so he said if we wanted to, we could, but I myself personally don't see no reason to do it, but maybe one of the, you know, committee members might think of that, if they wanted to do that.
Mayor, you may know this, and I know, the Blackman Middle School is the Ashland building.
That building is on our property, and it's on, we own it.
So we own it, okay, I
We own
know
the
at
property.
one time, there was money raised.
There was some money that was used from some independent sources to help construct that, but it's our property.
Okay.
On the Goodloe, Laverne Middle School. Is that 53 acres we've got there that we can't sell?
But I don't know about that. If it's any surplus property there,
I was thinking it was 39. but-
well, that I can't attest to, all right? You may be correct.
And I could be very wrong.
This is what his records reflect as far as the,
It's a good rock pile.
Also, I may point out that land inventory, that also include properties that do not sell at tax sales. They become properties of the county, so I see a couple of them listed on here now, so if you see these
yeah, I see.
delinquent tax sale, that's how we obtain that property.
And
They
what,
didn't sell at the auction.
They didn't sell at the tax auction.
we gathered a couple more of those this year. We had several when I first came here, and we sold all of them except a couple, and there were a couple of legal issues that with respect to our taking the property, so we couldn't sell those. So there's 4 or 5 of these out there that once they get cleaned up and get into the right position, we can make an effort to sell them as surplus property. I don't really think they're ripe right at this moment to do that, but we will, over the course of time, have a few of those that we'll have to do that with. We did sell 4 or 5 a few years ago.
Whatever happened to that one in Smyrna, that lady brought them,
We sold it.
finally sold it?
Yeah, she got it back. That was entangled, but she got it back by paying her back taxes. We paid our property taxes and the penalty and interest, and she was able to recover that. There were some legal issues there.
Mayor, you may not know this answer, but on here, the 25 acres on Barfield Crescent property, you know where that's at?
Are you on the back?
The last page on the,
No.
On land inventory?
It's on land inventory. I haven't looked at this in great detail.
I've actually, that's out there in my district, but I didn't know the county owned any land out there.
On Barfield Crescent. I'll make a note to follow up, but I don't know.
Sounds like school would that Rock Springs land.
You know, and that very well may be it.
Cedar Grove.
That may be Barfield Elementary.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Rock
that
Springs
could be.
Middle.
And then 25 acres would be pretty large for that site, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the
But it
elementary
could, it
school.
might be, but that would, see, yeah, that could be Barfield Crescent, what they're calling there, but you're,
Yeah, maybe.
and I don't see a Barfield school property listed.
That's like there's a John Buchanan property, 20 acres. It may very well be Barfield Crescent
Yeah, I
or
think
Barfield
that-
School.
it appears that is.
Well, the mayor will probably get together with Mr. Lindsay and clean it up a little bit.
Well, we'll do some more review of this.
But you will have a copy of it, and when he cleans it up with Mr. Lindsay, you'll probably get a revised copy of it. But I thought it would be good information for you to have, since we are the property management committee, at least know what properties we own.
And you're gonna see some things on there, that you're like on all this property on Fair Oak Court, Feather Court, Woods Green Drive, some of that business. That was all before I was mayor, but some of you may remember, there were several properties that the county, through federal assistance, bought those properties that had some flood issues, and that's what has happened with a number of those there. They cannot be used for any purpose, to just open raw land, and all the structures were taken down. And it just
We
happens,
had talked about making parks out of those areas.
well, that may be something y'all discuss, correct?
Is that out in the Walter Hill and
It's Holiday the Pike.
Twin Oak.
Twin Oak Drive?
Drive, right.
Twin Oak Drive, and there was a couple
There
out
may be
Walter
some
Hill,
out
too.
toward Walter Hill there off
Is
of
it?
Jefferson Pike too.
Oh, I'm
isn't it?
just
where it
looking at
flooded.
the Farrell Court. I think
Yeah.
that's
So
Holiday.
there were 2 or 3 little areas of those, and I don't know exactly where they are. All we do is, I think we do have to maintain them and keep the grass cut.
I think there's 25 acres in Rock Springs, Midland, or Road or something down there that was flooded
Is
property.
Is any of them large enough for ball fields?
25
I
acres
know
would
it.
be with it.
Well, most of these are just single-family home lots, little quarter-acre lots
What
or
I was
something.
thinking about, they're always wanting land for ball fields. If any of it's large enough for a ball field or a park, or some kind of a park, it would be.
Yeah,
good if we
It could be
do
a little
that.
neighborhood park, a
Yeah.
little
That's what I'm
picnic
talking
area or
about.
something, if the neighbors wanted to do that.
Something like Blackman, like that Blackman School, something like that.
Yeah, it did. Sometimes just a 100 by 200 or 100 by 100 to make a little park for kids. Something we don't have to do a lot of keeping up to.
Give it to them. Okay, well, we can go over it, write down what you want to do with some of it. And like I said, the mayor will clean it up. And that's just the information on it. Okay, next thing on the agenda is reschedule November meeting. I think it falls on Thanksgiving, right? I don't know why we can't meet on Thanksgiving.
You're gonna serve turkey and dressing, aren't you?
I'll tell you something that we'd like to discuss, since you brought that up. I mean, most of the meetings, committee meetings are 5:30 on some of them. I know, is it a problem for anybody to get here at 5:30? If we were to
For Adam, I don't know.
add them,
It'd be a little tough.
would it?
I can make it. If it's not a problem with anybody else, I'll do my best.
I mean, just a thought.
That's up to you, Commissioner.
Now, if it suits everybody else, then I can make it. So with the pleasure of the committee.
Well, you've done a good job tonight.
Don't tell my boss. That'd be fine.
What we could do for the next meeting, if the committee agrees, we can try 5:30. We can do it on a trial basis. And if it present an issue, we can then
Right.
look at going back to 6 o'clock. What about that?
And that's understandable. I mean, there may be commissioners that work
Yeah.
outside of the county, and have to travel in or whatever.
What date do we have
What day do we have what?
available in November?
Oh, we jumped off on something else.
29th, Tuesday the 30th, December the 1st, and December the 2nd. November meeting.
Some dates that we can change the meeting for November, Monday, November the 29th, or either Tuesday, November the 30th, Wednesday, December the 1st, or Thursday, December the 2nd. Do anybody have any preference to a date on that?
Is anybody going out of town for Thanksgiving? Not be back until Monday? Monday or Tuesday, either one's good.
The 29th, you said the 29th?
Monday the 29th?
Right, yeah.
29th's fine with me.
It's fine with me.
Okay, I don't think we need a motion on
I'm on
that.
shift, but that's
You
fine.
on
I
shift?
can make it.
You wanna move it to the 30th?
That would be better for me, but
Okay,
I can still,
that's fine.
I don't mind taking off work. It's not
Well,
a- I'm a block away.
30's fine with me.
Let's go with the 30th. Then
Okay.
you don't have to,
Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
okay.
It's awful nice.
You think you might be get some vacation time?
Why don't we try Tuesday, November the 30th at 5:30? We're gonna try on our 5:30 start time. I don't think we need a motion to that effect. I think everybody agreed. Do I need a motion?
You're okay.
Yeah, I probably would. Okay,
Need a motion.
no, we don't. Tuesday, November 30th at 5:30. All right. Any other business?
December meeting.
Got to do December too?
That's what Vicky said.
Well, I only had on there reschedule November meeting. That's what she got. Okay, for December, I don't know.
I guess we would have met
1, 2, 3, 4. 23rd, we would meet.
on the 23rd.
23rd, and that's a holiday.
So she's got
The office is closed.
29th.
How many days
and
were
30th.
closed for Christmas?
We,
Christmas is on
23rd and
Sunday.
24th, we also get 2 for New Year's.
Okay, okay.
You get 4 days off.
Okay, for the December meeting, she
Okay.
got listed Wednesday, December the 29th, or either Thursday, December the 30th.
30th is good for me.
30th is better for me.
Is that going to interfere with the New Year's?
No, there's a December 31st.
It's better for me.
Public, yeah.
Unless you got a big New Year party.
Well, I can- You and I both can remember when we didn't,
Well-
we had our meetings regardless whether it was a holiday or not.
Yeah.
And now, if the courthouse is closed, we don't
Well,
have.
Thursday-
Yeah, I remember that. We'd open the courthouse up ourselves. Come
Yeah,
on.
uh-huh.
Friday is the holiday for New Year's, so Thursday is a good day.
Thursday.
Thursday the 30th.
Okay, and we'll try, unless it change in November, we'll go with 5:30 also. Okay. Is that it?
Yes.
So it's November
Vicky didn't
30th
leave
and
anything.
No more instructions.
No more instruction. Any other business come before the committee tonight? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Okay.